Okay, so let's kick that cortisol. So the third step in taming your dragon is helping the body balance cortisol. And you can do that with these three things: nutmeg, clove, and cortistop. So nutmeg and clove have a corticosteroid activity in the body, and that helps support the adrenal glands. It The body secretes cortisol in response to stress and low blood glucose. And so this corticosteroid activity can help offset that. And it can assist in protein and carbohydrate metabolism. It can also help reduce stress and inflammation. So both nutmeg and clove are really, really high in corticosteroid activity. Another great product that Young Living makes is called Cortistop. And this is a supplement. It's a capsule that they make, and you just take a couple of those with water or juice or whatever your favorite beverage is, and it helps maintain a natural balance in the body and helps reduce cortisol. So I suggest that you take it with your evening meal if you're going to be a heavy protein consumer in the evening time. That way it can help offset some of that cortisol and not give you that adrenaline kick right before you want to go to sleep. So Cortistop has DHEA in it, which comes from wild yam, a natural source, a plant source. It also has black cohosh, has pregnenolone, which is a precursor to other sex hormones like progesterone and estrogen. It also has essential oils in it as well: peppermint, fennel, which are both great for digestion, frankincense, clary sage, and fleabane. Those are all very hormonal balancing oils. And so when you are under extreme stress, the body produces all this cortisol, which creates a higher estrogen level in the body. And it limits the ability of the thyroid and the adrenal glands to manage cortisol levels. And so by using these two essential oils and cortistop, you can really help combat that and bring your body into better alignment. So we're gonna get into the liver a little bit on this video, and it's really super important that everyone cleanse. Even dragons need to cleanse. So the liver has a lot of vital functions in the body, and some of them are producing bile, which breaks down fats, protein, bacteria, toxins, and excess substances, including hormones. So when your thyroid makes thyroid hormone and it's done using it for whatever purpose it needed it, your liver has to filter all those hormones out of the body. And so it's very important that the liver stay clean so that it can properly manage the hormone levels in the body. If you've got a whole lot of stuff hanging around from the last surge and then your body's trying to make more, you're just going to be in this compound effect of too much hormone or not enough hormone. So the liver also creates a serum protein that acts as a hormone carrier for all of the different hormones in the body. So if the adrenals are making adrenaline to combat cortisol levels, and the liver is not clean enough to produce these serum proteins that it needs, then the adrenaline is not going to get to where it needs to go. So these are the little vehicles that carry all the hormones around to be used effectively. So it's really important to keep your liver functioning at its optimum so that these hormones can get to where they need to go and do their job. So another thing that the liver does is sex hormone production. So your adrenals do some of it, your ovaries and your uterus do some of it, but your liver also manufactures sex hormones, specifically testosterone and estrogen. So even women have testosterone. That is what keeps our muscle mass. Estrogen keeps us looking feminine. But if the liver is not clean and it overproduces estrogen, or it can't filter estrogen out of the body, then you're going to start growing hair in all the wrong places. Or you could have an excess of testosterone and your voice is deeper, or you might notice some other effects that, thinning hair on the top of your head, hair going in places you don't want it. So just something to think about when you're caring for your liver. The liver also stores a lot of food. So it stores vitamins, minerals, and sugars for fuel. It stores that glycogen that your body needs to function. So keeping it clean will keep your food storage space a lot cleaner and ready to be used. So if I haven't said it enough over that last slide, just again, it's super, super important to keep your liver clean. Keeping your liver clean will help regulate hormone levels, it'll reduce toxicity in the body, it will help you feel younger, and it will give you more energy. So when we're out and about in our daily lives, we come in contact with a lot of different things that can act as endocrine disruptors. Some of them we cannot avoid, but some of them we can. And these are the little fire starters. And so if we're trying to squelch that fire, we can limit some of these disruptors in our lives and protect our liver from having to detox the body from them. And then we don't have to cleanse as much as often and give our body a little bit of a reprieve. So some of the things that can contain endocrine disruptors are conventional produce and animal protein. And I don't mean to pick on animal protein, but it's just a very heavily contaminated source these days with the way meat, milk, and eggs are produced. So some of the things that can come in meat, dairy, eggs, things like that, are stuff like dioxin. And dioxin, it forms in the industrial process when chlorine and bromine are burned in the presence of carbon and oxygen, which doesn't mean a lot to a whole lot of people, but the effects are real, and it can disrupt the delicate ways in which both male and female sex hormone signaling occurs in the body. So they've done a lot of research on it, and it shows the research has shown that exposure to low levels of dioxin in the womb in early life can permanently affect sperm quality and lower the sperm count in men during their prime reproductive years. So it's really something that you want to make sure you're protecting yourself against if you're having children, and also your men in your life. Dioxins have been proved to be very long-lived, and they build up in the body and in the food chain, and they're powerful carcinogens, and they can affect the immune system and the reproductive systems. So products that include dioxin very commonly are meat, fish, milk, eggs, and butter. So you can cut down on your exposure by eating a lot less animal products, or making sure that you know exactly where those foods are grown and raised. So a couple other ones that I want to mention are perchlorate. It is actually rocket fuel, and it's contaminated in our drinking water mostly, and so by filtering your water, you can protect yourself against this contaminant. And what it does when it gets into your body is it competes with iodine, which your thyroid needs to make thyroid hormones. So if you're ingesting this toxic substance, then it's going to actually mimic the iodine in your body is not going to be able to produce what it needs. And that's super critical for brain and organ development in infants and young children, and it's super important in hormone regulation, especially for metabolism in adults. So make sure you're buying a really good quality water filter. Some of the other things are pesticides. One, for example, is atrazine, and it's a herbicide that they use on conventional produce, and researchers have found that the exposure to even low levels of this chemical can turn male frogs into females that produce completely viable eggs. So it's widely used on the majority of corn crops in the United States, and it's comes in our water because it gets contaminated through the fields in our drinking water. So it's been linked to all kinds of things like breast tumors, delayed puberty, prostate inflammation, prostate cancer, things like that. So not only just us women need to protect against this particular chemical, but also our men. And you can do so by buying organic produce and really limiting your meat and dairy. So some of the other things that we can come in contact with are cleaners, beauty products, containers, cosmetics, even our food can contain a lot of nasty endocrine disruptors. So you really want to avoid things like BPA. And a lot of people have read about that, but it's been linked to all kinds of problems like obesity, early puberty, heart disease, all kinds of different cancers. So you really want to stay away from things that are marked with PC for polycarbonate or have the recycling label number 7 on the bottom of the container. And you want to really watch your receipts, because any receipts that are printed on thermal paper are coated with BPA. That's how they actually work in the printing process. So other things like phthalates, those are being heavily studied, and the reason is that there is a specific signaling program within the body that tells your cells when to die, and that is perfectly normal and healthy because you have over 50 billion cells in your body that die every day so that new cells can be regenerated or created. And studies have shown that phthalates can trigger what's known as the death-inducing signal. So especially in testicular cells, so reproductive cells. And so that's death in your man parts, your man's man parts. So some of the other things that can come from ingesting phthalates are less sperm mobility, birth defects, obesity, diabetes, and thyroid irregularities. So you really want to watch for things that have the recycling label number 3 on the bottom. Some of the kids' children's toys, plastic wrap, things like that, even some things listed as fragrance often mean that there's hidden phthalates in there that they're not disclosing. And the last one I wanted to mention real quick is the glycol esters. So if you've ever heard of propylene glycol, that is a glycol ester. And it is oftentimes found in paints, cleaning products, brake fluids, and the number one thing is cosmetics, believe it or not. And all of us women use cosmetics. They have done studies and they have shown that children who are exposed to propylene glycol have substantially more allergies and asthma to deal with. So it comes in all kinds of things. It can even come in some of the store brand essential oils that you might be buying or have bought in the past, because they oftentimes will extend those or dilute those with propylene glycol because it's an odorless, flavorless liquid that they can use to extend the amount of essential oils that they actually have to use in the product, and that greatly reduces the price. It's more affordable to you as a consumer. But the problem is that you're probably smelling them, you're probably putting them on your skin, you might be diffusing them, and you're releasing all that propylene glycol into the air, and you're breathing it into your lungs, and that can coat your lungs and harden the lungs. It's the same exact stuff that they use to put in the e-cigs to carry the nicotine for the e-cigs, and a lot of times people will have a lot of health difficulties from smoking the e-cigs over smoking a regular cigarette just because of that propylene glycol. I'm not advocating smoking, but I definitely don't think that breathing in propylene glycol or glycol esters is a really good idea. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the 4th step in taming your dragon. So you want to give some props to your liver. You want to give your liver an opportunity to detox itself and balance itself so that it can do its job effectively. And some of the ways you can do that are using lemon, Juvaflex, and Juvatone. So one of my favorite ways to use lemon is just to put some in my water and drink it throughout the day. It provides a very mild detox to the liver. You're not going to have those really, really major detox symptoms that you might have on some of the other detox products you might have purchased in the past. Now, you sometimes can have a little bit of nausea, maybe a little bit of a headache if your liver is very, very toxic. But if you're just taking a drop at a time and working up to a higher amount, if you decide to do that, you shouldn't notice anything real major. You can also apply it to your skin. Just a bit of warning, it is a photosensitive oil, so if you do put it on your skin and then walk out directly into the sunlight, it can cause that part of your skin to turn darker color, which is not necessarily a harmful thing. It's just, you probably don't want to have a spot on your skin where it's super dark. It's either you want to apply it all over and go out in the sun and get a super even tan, or make sure that you wait a little while before walking out into direct sunlight after using a citrus oil. So Young Living also makes a product called Juvaflex, and anything with this Juva name in it is meant to support the liver. Juvaflex is a blend that's got a bunch of different essential oils that are very liver supporting and cleansing, and so you can actually just apply it straight over the liver. Even put like a hot pad or maybe a rice sock or something to help drive that in. You can even take it in water and drink it down. There's all different ways that you can use Juvaflex to support the liver. Another great product is Juvatone. I've personally used this one quite a bit. And you just take a few tablets a day with water, and it's just designed to provide support for liver function in general. So if you can do some of these things and maybe change your diet around a little bit to be able to help accommodate the liver, to get it to cleanse so that you can have better hormonal support, I would highly recommend it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and then we're going to start the next video for ovaries, uterus, and sex hormones, and then we're going to touch a little bit on peri and postmenopause, and then we're getting close to the end. So thanks for hanging with me.